Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Mountain Movers, where our mission is to teach people to turn their struggle into motivation. We want to teach you that the hard times in your life can be encompassed as your superpower to create the life that you truly desire. I have a very special guest today, Cristi Kaido, who truly embodies everything that Mountain Movers stands for. I created Mountain Movers from my own struggle. And I realized that when you go through tough times, you truly have this will for better days if you can kind of switch the mindset. And that's exactly what Cristi has done. She is an entrepreneur, a business owner, and newly an author, which is amazing. But would you agree in saying that you probably wouldn't have been any of these things if it wasn't for your hardships in your life?
Absolutely, yeah. Those things really pushed me and gave me the drive to be where I am.
Yeah, so can you share a little bit about how Mindful Mixer came about and then tell us what Mindful Mixer is?
Sure. So I started the Mindful Mixer earlier this year, back in April, and I'm a certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, and wellness coach. And I was a
Awesome.
bartender for a period of time. I create some With a mindful mixer, I create healthy mocktails. I teach people how to be mindful of the ingredients that they're putting into their body and to be present and in the moment.
I know that you and I share some similarities in terms of our childhood. Both of our childhoods were a little difficult. You know, my mom came here as a single mom immigrant who didn't speak the language, and we grew up fairly poor. We didn't have a lot of money, so not a lot of resources. So the odds were really stacked against us in terms of succeeding in some sort of entrepreneurial sense. Can you tell us a little bit about the difficulties growing up? I think you just grew up with your mom, right?
Yeah, so my mom and my dad got divorced when I was maybe 1 years old. When I was a baby, that was the time that they were going through some hardships. I didn't have any baby pictures of me. We actually lived in a safe house for a little period of time when my dad and my mom separated. But then once we got out of that, we moved into low-income housing. During that time, my mom became a victim of the OxyContin epidemic, and she was constantly fed higher and higher doses. So there was a decent chunk of time in my childhood where she was not present. So it was myself and my older siblings that had to really work together to, survive emotionally, physically, mentally, and overcome that.
So you guys really took care of yourselves. You didn't have adult figures that kind of guided you through life.
Absolutely, yeah.
I feel like I had to grow up pretty quickly, which, is a good and a bad thing. Like, I remember sitting with my mom's friends because I didn't have friends my age growing up for a few reasons. It was just my mom and I. She did the best she could. I grew up socially awkward. I had a hard time making friends. And I do remember sitting with her friends and them being like, "You're so mature and you fit right in with us." And looking back, I'm like, that's not a good thing for a 10-year-old to fit right in with these 40 or 50 or 60-year-old women. So I feel like we had to grow up pretty quickly, which in a sense is good too, because we learned how to be mature and things like that. But do you feel like that's where your sense of independence and drive has come from?
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, I lived with my mom until about 10th grade. And at that point, all my older siblings, they had gone off to college, and it was just me and my younger half sister. And it was decided that I was going to move in with my father and my stepmom. And while I lived there for a few years, from 10th grade until 12th grade, I didn't really necessarily fit in the school and also in the household. After I had graduated, I was kicked out of the house, and I had to be 100% on my own. I thought I was going off to college.
How old were you at that point?
I was 18.
18.
And I thought I was going off to college. I thought I had this whole world ahead of me, and instead I had a box of money that I had saved in my hands. And I was in the middle of the driveway after getting kicked out, and kind of looked around and was like, what do I do now? So I moved back in with my mom, who lived in Ilion, and I walked along the highway from Ilion to Herkimer County Community College at the time. And it was during those times where I was walking on the highway and pushing myself and saying, I gotta get up, I gotta go to school, I gotta go to college, that I knew that I was destined for.
That's awesome. So, you didn't have a place in the world, so you wanted to make your own place.
That's right.
At that point, were you already kind of into nutrition and fitness?
So I was starting to kind of get like in high school when I moved in with my dad, I did some sports and I was really into that. Like the training aspect of it. I didn't really understand nutrition. But during college, that is when I pushed myself and I really got into sports and I really got, not necessarily sports, but working out, training, running. I was a big runner.
What did
And
you major in?
business administration.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But that's when that was my therapy, was working out, like getting a sweat in, pushing myself, because that's one thing I could control. And then after that, like throughout college, I found out that I had degenerative disc disease. So there were times where I could barely move, I could barely walk. And then, I came to meeting my now husband, but boyfriend at the time. And I was like, he's not going to marry me, because there were times where in the middle of the night, he would have to pick me up out of bed to help me into the bathroom because my back was so bad.
So now, like, your outlet of working out to like cope and manage with your stress has come to like a screeching halt because of this.
Yeah.
Wow. So how did you get through that?
So I had spent all of my spare money, which was not a lot, on doctors and therapists and different specialists and float therapy and acupuncture and chiropractors and medications and injections, until finally there was a neurosurgeon that was like, oh, you have degenerative disc disease. So I learned what it was. I learned how to cope with it. And then I said, I'm going to get certified in personal training for myself at the time, to learn about my own body, to be able to heal myself and be able to push forward and be able to do the things that I wanted to do.
I love that, because as a chiropractor, like, I see how debilitating pain can be, especially back pain like that, and how much it can affect someone's life. But what I love about you, and I like, sometimes I'm on the fence of like if this can be taught, is you took it into your own hands and you were like, okay, this is what I have. How can I work around this and make the best of it? I really have like a hard time communicating that sometimes to my patients. Do you have any like advice on that, being, that you've been there before?
I would just say, like, it is hard to give advice to somebody who's never been in an experience where they've had to push themselves and go farther. But you can do it. You can. There are so many examples out there to show you that, you can better yourself mentally, emotionally, physically. And what I did with learning about personal training, I learned about my own body. I took matters into my own hands. I wasn't just, getting that medication, fed that medication from a doctor, or spending thousands of dollars on all different therapies. And I was like, I'm done with this. I'm learning about it. I'm doing this myself, and other people can do that too.
So education is power, which is why I spend so much time with my patients in the chiropractic office, educating them on what their x-rays look like, why they look like this, and what we can do to slow the process down, like DDD, degenerative disc disease, for example. Because knowledge is power, and learning about your body and how to manage certain conditions is, I think, ultimately what's going to like save you and push you forward. But outside of that, I know that there's another whole layer to your health story. I don't want to talk about it for you, so will you tell us a little bit about kind of what happened after you overcame your back pain?
Yeah, so I was kind of figuring out what to do with my back pain. I was keeping things at bay. And in early 2020, in January, before the pandemic, I woke up one day and my right arm was the size of Popeye. And I was like, did I pull a muscle? What happened? So I had already had a chiropractor appointment that day, and I'd gone in and I was like, hey, like, adjust me, something's wrong, And he's like, I'm not touching you, something is wrong. So I had to go to the emergency room and get some imaging done, and they're like, you have a very large blood clot near your heart right now. This is a life or death situation. We need to get you on an ambulance as quickly as possible out to Syracuse. So I got in the ambulance, I got out to Syracuse, and I got in the operating room. I was there for several days as I had a couple of different surgeries to combat the clot. And then I got released from that, but then I had to go back and get my rib removed. So what I had was thoracic outlet syndrome. And essentially I had to get my first rib removed. So it was compressing my subclavian vein.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I had a 6-inch blood clot near my heart. It was crazy. But the surgeon told me that if it was not for me being healthy, if I did not have a low resting heart rate, that I would not be here today. And that really pushed me to teach other people about health and wellness and let them know, like, hey, it's not just about like looking good. This can save your life.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm sure at one point you were frustrated, like you're doing everything right, you're eating correctly, you're exercising, like, and then this still happens to you. Did that ever cross your mind?
1,000%. I was like, this is not fair. I thought I was doing all the right things, and I'm
Hmm.
trying to overcome all of these things that have happened in my life, but I'm just getting shot down again and again.
Yeah, like you have overcome at that point so much in your life already. I feel like it would have been easy to throw in the towel and be like, this is just the cards I'm dealt and it's just going to be a shit life. But you did not do that, which is why you are here where you are today. And I think that's so amazing. At what point did you pivot and go to Mindful Mixer, and what like initiated the thought of Mindful Mixer?
So I at that time I was already a personal trainer and I was working on my nutrition certification. So I really wanted to focus more on wellness and just overall health and wellness. So I started my wellness coach certification, and like I said, I was a bartender at the same time, and a couple of my friends were actually pregnant around the same time, so I was always making mixed up mocktails. And I'm like, I want to make these healthy. I don't want to put nasty ingredients in there, but I also want to teach people about like being present, being in the moment. How can I infuse those two worlds together in something fun and exciting and celebratory like mocktails? So earlier this year, I was working at a gym at the time, and I put on a workshop for the community, and it went over so well. There were several people who reached out to me on social media, and they're like, hey, can you bring this to my yoga studio or wellness space? And I'm like, I don't have a business right now. Like, I was just kind of doing it as a personal trainer,
It's
like
fun,
as
yeah.
something fun. But I'm like, maybe this can be something. I started the Mindful Mixer, and it's been great.
I'm a huge believer that everything in life unfolds and happens the way that it's supposed to. Do you think Mindful Mixer would have happened had your previous struggles didn't occur?
No, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I don't think so, because starting a business is scary. All of the things that you have to do and overcome, and the all of the red tape you have to get through, and it's scary. But I was like, this is nothing.
This is
This is
easy.
easy compared to like
Yes.
what I've gone through. So really my struggles pushed me forward and pushed me to thrive and overcome, and I want to teach other people that they can do that too.
Yeah, and you are honestly by sharing your story. And I was telling you earlier, like something that helps push me through is like knowing where I came from. And like you said, nothing can be that bad that in terms of that struggle. But what pushes me through is like I don't want to go back. This hard is not the same hard. And I remember reading like this quote that it was like things are going to be hard, choose your hard.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, do you rather like struggle and have to make those long walks from Ilion to Herkimer, or do you rather have like hard applications to help you push your business forward,
Yeah.
right? There's these like different types of difficulties. So that's awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
And let's talk about this bad boy in the room. Let me not knock over our drinks. So she just came out with the 12 sips of Christmas. Tell me about this. What's in
Yeah.
this?
So the 12 Sips of Christmas are 12 mocktail recipes that I created. They are all healthy. All the ingredients have wellness benefits. And there's like this fun little advent calendar. I'm going to open to it because first of all, this took a lot of time and I'm just proud of it.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, so it's a little advent calendar.
Aren't you a graphic designer too, or do you dabble in graphics?
I dabble in graphics.
Did you do
yeah.
these?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I created-
she's like, I dabble. Look how amazing these are.
Yeah, so it's more than just mocktails, though. It is mindful reflections. So each day you open up the book and you figure out which mocktail to make. There is a recipe or a grocery list in the back that tells you all of the ingredients that you're going to need
For all
the
of
whole
them?
book. Yeah.
Wow, I love it.
And then there are the guided sipping rituals. So if you want me to
Yes, please.
read one. So this one is the partridge in a pear tree mocktail. So I do a before you sip, a while you sip, and then some reflection questions. So the before you sip sounds like this. Bring the glass close and breathe deeply. Bring the glass close. See if you notice the scent of thyme. Observe the pale glow of pear nectar against the bubbles, like dew on pine needles. While you sip, notice how the gentle sweetness of pear blends with the grounding touch of thyme. As you pause between sips, Imagine yourself rooted like a tree, calm, steady, present in the moment, whether in a quiet winter forest or gathered at a holiday table. And then there are the reflection questions. So, healthy mocktails, wellness notes about the mocktail, mindful reflections.
I love it. So she made us, what is this one called?
The gingerbread dream.
The gingerbread dream. It is freaking delicious.
Yeah, so that's made with a gingerbread syrup that I created. It has date syrup, it has cinnamon, nutmeg, blackstrap molasses, cloves. So the gingerbread syrup, and then it's mixed with some maple syrup and oat milk.
Wow, it is seriously delicious. I love this. This is like perfect for your holiday parties. So please support our dear friend. Are your books for sale yet?
Yeah, they're available on Amazon.
Awesome.
The 12 Sips of Christmas. And then I have some local copies that are signed from me.
I just got a signed copy.
Yeah.
So I will post the Amazon link for you guys to order your books. I think this is truly amazing. Would you mind giving us some advice? So if there's someone listening that's going through a really hard time in their life, is there anything that you would say to them?
I would say lean into those moments. Be present during those moments. Recognize the pain and the struggle, but use it for fuel to push you through to your next season of life.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And thank you all for listening. Please support our lovely Cristi Kaido here and pre-order or order her book on Amazon. Thanks for listening.
Thanks. Bye.